We're going to go over way too early predictions for stage 2. And first, we're going to go through Americas. We're going to pick out the group stages because there's a whole new system coming in, and we're just going to jump straight into it. Because in stage 2, it's not the normal setup where 4 teams qualify into playoffs. It's 2 teams that auto qualify into playoffs, and then the rest have to go through play-ins where they get the chance to play tier 2 teams, and tier 2 teams have the chance to be able to make it into playoffs, and potentially very low odds be able to make it into champs. And pretty much we're going to go game by game, and pretty much the results of the predictions are going to determine the top 2 seeds that auto bid into the playoffs. They pretty much skip the plans, go straight to playoffs. And so we're going to go through the pick'ems. We're going to go and start with Leviathan and Furia. And right off the get-go, cut clean and straight, Leviathan is clear favorite. I think Furia is not in a good position to be able to beat Lev, even if Lev start out pretty sluggish, just because we've had, pretty much a lot of teams that come off of a championship run. Usually they go into the regional matchup and they start off sluggish, but sometimes they end up bouncing back a lot quicker. I feel like Lev pretty much can dominate this game from the get-go just because Furia have roster changes. They have, it's rumored that they might be speaking Portuguese now because they dropped Alum and Nerve, and they pick up two new players. And this core kind of seems fractured. I feel like initially they had potential, but Leviathan, clear-cut champs going into their first week, pretty much should be an easy game for them. And Sentinels and Cloud9, like we talk about it, it's probably the most popular matchup, or the most clouded matchup that's going to be happening this week. And I firmly believe that Sentinels and C9, this is probably going to be their most pivotal game going into the season. If Sentinels don't show a great showing, there's going to be a lot of Doomer fans. And C9 have maybe a little bit grace just because they have a younger core. They have Fireballops, they have Jackk, and they have Noted joining in when they're replacing Zeppa, Vic, and Penny. And so the younger core versus the established somewhat core of Sentinels, their new coach that has only been with them for a stage. Seems like Sentinels are favorite, but I think I'm going to go against my gut and say C9. As much as I feel like Sentinels, have Redux and John QT and Cortesia, and, the team that they have is pretty solid, but I feel like Cloud9 has a lot more firepower. And so my gut says Sentinels, but I'm going to go with C9. And so then that leaves Envy and EG. So Envy have Demon1, Rossi, Kesnet, Glyph, and potentially Knights. I feel like they're most likely going to make it into a scrappy game. Usually Envy, when they're not playing top tier teams, they can pretty much run it down. They're probably going to stick to that style regardless of the meta. And I feel like even if it goes into 3 maps, Envy are able to take the win. Even though I love EG and I love how they're adapting some of the tier 2 talent from their academy team with Pancakes and Zerona, I feel like they have been a really good addition, especially when it came to the last games. But I think MV pretty much stick to their style and run it down. Which leaves Crew and Loud, which is probably one of the second biggest matchups in terms of potential, just because Crew went off to a really hot start in the beginning and kind of fizzled out towards the end. Whereas Loud, they've always had really young potential with Luke Show, and formerly they had Verdi, who had shown some inconsistency, but they're adding some new players and replacing some old players. And so it's pretty much young core versus team potential, where I think Crew should be favored, but I think if Loud want a good start to the stage, then they have to win this. And so I think Loud will win this. And then that leaves G2 and 100 T's. 100 T's and G2, they might end up playing at EWC. But so we might get a glimpse of what that might look like. But for the meantime, I think G2, the regional farmers, 100 T's, they probably take it to map 3. Pretty much how the map pool is, my gut says G2, but I think actually I'll go 100 T's. I think it may just be the same story where G2 start off slow and then they end up farming the rest of the way. And so the last game, MRBR Energy, I think Energy have always been in great form, and I feel like they're just missing something, and that there's something, I don't know, that I can't really stick my finger on, just because Energy has always had really great showings, and MRBR has always been the team that has been the closest in terms of everyone, like being a game away from winning and qualifying. But in this scenario, you know, where the pressure is off and maybe it's the start of the stage, I think Energy are more of a consistent form, where MRBR might go into this game and show out for a map or two, but I feel like I feel like I just value this championship core so much. Until I'm proven wrong, I feel like Energy pretty much are always should be favored when it comes to regional matchups, maybe except for G2. Okay, so that week's 2. And EG Lev, no brainer, unless EG show really great form. I think a map 3 is something that would be really entertaining, and I hope that it does go to a map 3. But I think Lev in their form, it's just another form of a dynasty. Envy, MIBR honestly might get flashbacks from Envy. I know that it's not the same 5, but I think I'm gonna just go Envy for the lulz. I think if I were to, you know, put like be able to like say, hey, like, you know, for sure I'm gonna put my house on it, I'm probably going MIBR, but in this case I'm gonna just go Envy for the lulz. And so Envy with a win. I don't think Envy is gonna be in like, you know, playoff form off map, but I think they'll be in a position where they can get a lot of upset games. And so MIBR with 2 losses, Envy with 2 wins. That's crazy. NRG Furia, I'm pretty down on Furia. I just don't see them winning this game. Again, I bet Energy and is favored in most scenarios when it comes to regional matchups. So we'll quickly glide through that. 100 T's crew. 100 T's beat G2. They could probably beat anybody. And so we're gonna go loud, or not loud. Crew with 2 losses at 100 T's with 2 wins. That's crazy. And G2 Cloud9, if Cloud9 beats Sen, they can ride this momentum. G2 is on the ropes. I'm gonna go with Cloud9. Damn, never thought I'd see the day. Okay, Loud Sen. All right, this might be Sen's bounce back game. They previously have lost to Loud, I believe. This is just based off of memory. I'm pretty sure they lost to Loud, but I think Sentinels bounce back off a loss towards C9. They realize what they kind of the holes in the game, because every team has holes in their game, believe it or not. And they bounce back against a Loud. And so Loud and Sen go 1-1. Envy and Lev. Oh wow, they do 2 matchups in week 2? That's crazy. I didn't even see that until now. So Lev and Envy, Lev just continue off the run. I don't see any other team, maybe G2 that beats them in regional, and so that goes to Envy, and then Furia and MIBR. Damn. If I like a Furia, what teams can? Yeah, I guess they could win these just at a glance. But MIBR, they don't lose back to back. Oh, I messed up on MIBR. Ignore that. They get their 2 wins within week 2, and we're on to week 3. Damn, that's crazy. And Envy, yep, 1, 2, 3. Furia, damn, that's crazy. Crew G2, just based off of last split where G2 pretty much crushed Crew, they'd have no shot. I think G2 again, it's the same narrative where they kind of bounce back towards the later end of the stage. It's just classic G2. Sentinels 100 Thieves. Again, it's so funny. It's so funny because everybody says that it's a rivalry matchup, but 100 Thieves hasn't won that many times against Sentinels, and this is the times where maybe Sentinels kind of flip with 100 Thieves. 100 Thieves gets the first two in the first 2 weeks, and Sentinels flip the momentum. Oh, all right. Oh, damn, I'm forgetting my X's and I's. The I's are wins, X's are loss. So Sentinels win, Cloud9 Loud. Cloud9 take off. They're taking off. They're flying through the stages. When against Loud, think again, Loud beat C9. Crazy in the last stage. But C9 get the revenge. EG, MIBR. I think I'm actually go for the upset. And I think EG finally figure out what's going on. They get first two losses, but they bounce back, and MIBR lose while we have C9, Loud, and 100 T's, 100 T's, 100 T's, and G2. Yep, everything looks good, right? Yes, okay. Envy, Furia, Envy, damn. Envy might to make a run. Envy, Furia, again, I'm down on Furia. I would pick Furia if they had their previous score. Again, this is kind of like off of a whim. This is just kind of me predicting that they're not going to be in great form, even though with the addition of their two players and stable, like, I want to say veterans. I think maybe EU lines up more towards a veteran. Because Koala it's his second like season technically, because his first season with Navi, but that was only for a stage, and this is about to be his first full year in VCT. So even with EU and Koala Noob and their IGL, I think Furia lose and V is on a run. Lev, NRG, I think NRG face Lev. Let's see. Energy has won every matchup except for Lev. I think I might actually go Energy just because they have faced Lev in Masters London. And so we're gonna go Lev's first loss in stage 2 and Energy's fourth win. C9 and Cloud, if C9's on a run, then they're just on a run. And G2 Sentinels. Sentinels back to back. They win, they probably lose to G2 just because they do a 2 in 1 week. So we're gonna go 2, 1. Okay, am I missing? Loud, loud, loud. And then crew. All right, and then EG, Furia, EG, kind of going on a run towards the end. You get a dub right here. Furia, it's not looking good. And Envy versus Energy. I think I'm gonna go Energy. Energy are trying to pretty much go almost undefeated. Yeah, we'll lock it in. Energy goes undefeated. Damn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Why do I have 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The hell? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's weird. 100 T C9. 100 T C9. 100 T C9. 100 T's C9. We'll go C9. No, I'm gonna go 100 T's. 100 T's, 100 T's. Damn, one loss. Okay. G2 loud. G2 again goes on a run. So they're pretty much 3-2, just like last stage. Crew and Sentinels. Sentinels get their revenge. Damn, do I have Crew not winning a game? Damn. Crew not winning a game. That's crazy. NV X I. Let me fix this real quick. 1, 2, 3. I. MIBR. MIBR Lev. Lev only lose to NRG because NRG get revenge. And then EG win. Furia Dan go winless. MIBR lose. Okay. So now that leaves us with our group Alpha and group Omega. So right now we have Energy, most likely top seed, and Lev is the second seed. Our standings, because the top two qualify, and so that leaves Energy first seed, Lev second seed, and it's between Envy and EG. I believe Envy are tiebreaker. Envy, EG, Furia. And then for group Omega, that leaves 4, 4, 3, and 3. So we'll go 100 T, Cloud9, C9, Sen, and G2. I think G2 beat Sen, EG Furia, Energy Leg, Envy, EG. Oh, I forgot about MIBR. Oops. MIBR is yes. Oops, I forgot MIBR. G2 Sen, Loud, and Crew. We have 4 and 4. Cool. So that means, if you can't see, that this is going to be our predictions and probably our most likely standings just based off of what it's going to look like. And so if we look back, the first two are the ones that qualify, and the rest are through this gauntlet of the play-ins just to make it back into playoffs. And for most teams, they're most likely going to have to make top 2. And so again, this is for the group stage. When the play-ins happen, we'll go over that, and we'll do the same thing for Pacific and EMEA, just because I only have times to watch those. And if China had an English broadcast, then I would probably watch that, whenever I have spare time. But I feel like 3 regions is a healthy amount, for even the most avid consumer of Valorant. And so yeah, that leaves Energy Lev first seed, auto bid into playoffs, and 100 T's G2. And then I feel like regardless of the outcomes in this group, even a team like Furia or a team like Crew or even a team like Loud, teams that don't have great results in the group stage can still be capable of being able to make it out of play-ins and into playoffs, just because it's a best of 3. There's a lot higher stakes, there's a lot more pressure involved, and so teams that are able to make a run, just like Crew when they did an LCQ, pretty much gauntlet run to be able to make it into champs. It's the same thing for these teams. Like, all it takes is each best of 3 and be able to win those. And be able to fight your way out. And so, yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting for this Americas. I think there will be a lot more parity, a lot more surprises. And again, this is the way too early when we have a lot more info in terms of comps and how the meta is going to shape out and map pools and even some of the results from EWC. Again, that is with a grain of salt just because it's a whole different tournament. It's a whole different, meta in that sense. And teams are going to have to come back into stage 2 with only less than a week, if they make it far into that. And so, yeah, it's gonna be fun. That was the way too early predictions for Americas. When the time comes, I also will do the other regions, so stick around for that. Leave a comment and a like, and I'll see you in the next video. And let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts on these predictions. Is there any predictions that I missed? Any predictions that I could have flipped? And yeah.